as if I needed to a reason to love my people even more. The Irish aren't going along with the enhancement of their population by immigrants from Africa. They're kind of freaking out about it, which is great. I mean, you know, history has shown us that they don't like people invading their area. You know, as we've seen over the decades with what they call the Troubles. They're not gonna go gently into the night like a lot of these other places are. They're freaking out. A poll that was done, whatever those mean, you know, if they mean anything, but usually they're polls done by the government to try to help their position, but over 50% of the population is against this immigration that's coming into Ireland. And that's how it should be. I would think it's probably more than that. If they're saying over 50%, then it's probably more. Now, the Irish traditionally are very welcoming people, very understanding people. But if you come into a community and you want to be a shithead, you know, you're gonna have problems. And the people they're bringing there, it's the same people they're spreading out all over the world. From the continent, from the African continent exclusively, that aren't really congruent with living in a sort of regular civilization. They come from a place where it's very different. You know, there's a lot of violence, a lot of well, you know. Just take a look at Africa, the continent. They have a different kind of way of doing things. They're used to a different kind of living. And they don't mix well with people that have like a second floor on their houses. It's just not where, I mean, they're not good with that. So if you want to try to take them and put them into, you know, an Irish village or a little town, and them just being themselves are going to cause a lot of trouble. And that is what is happening to all these places around the world. It's done purposely. You know, our farmers, they know their livestock, and they know which ones are the ones that are going to cause trouble. It's like they're taking their foxes and they're putting them in with the hens, you know. But the Irish are a bit more like roosters. They're gonna fucking make a lot of noise about you putting the foxes in the fucking hen house with them. So they're causing quite a stink. And the thing is, like, when they dig their heels into something, just ask the British how tenacious they can be about their land being invaded and taken over. And I think even some of them were probably originally gave it a wait and see kind of approach. But as soon as they started arriving, you started seeing what you always see, a spike in violence, the sexual crimes, violent crimes, and they were just like, no, we're not going to have this here. We're not going to have this here. I haven't seen another place really stand up like that to this planned deposit of what is really like using people as biological weapons, which is what's happening. They're like, well, we know these people aren't going to mix together. Let's jam them together. Like, they know the outcome. And the fact that they're immigrants from what? You know? Immigrants from what? a shitty fucking place to live. I mean, they made it that way though. You know, why don't they stay there and fix their own? Because it's not about that. Like, you can ask 100 rhetorical questions. You know the answer. It's meant to create chaos. They know it's going to create chaos. By mixing these people up, it's going to bring them the chaos they want to have in every city, in every country, all around the world. And it's not even a thing of like a different point of view on etiquette or customs or a culture thing. These people are just completely different. They're completely different from the people that live there. They don't hold anything of value that the people that live there hold of value. They don't have any, of course, obviously any connection to the land or the people or their customs. They're just going to come there and act the way they would act in the bush where they're from. And, you know, some people don't want, you know, machete attacks in their neighborhood. But for the most part, I haven't seen really any other part of Europe, because they're doing this everywhere. It's being done everywhere. Everywhere. They're just putting people in areas where they know they're going to cause problems. And they have an endless amount of these people because they spent the last couple of decades using that continent like a people farm. That's the whole other side of it. Mother Teresa, who is really the father of Anthony Fauci, and that's, you know, whatever, you can look at that yourself. She famously told them, was against birth control. Don't use birth control. Don't use birth control. Because they want them to keep popping kids out. They always say the continent needs money to feed people. And they put those starving kids on the TV. No one's starving. The reason they need more food is to grow these people. It's like they made the place like a people farm, basically. And I've said before, I think those starving kid things, I think they have like a little place where they keep kids like that. And when they need to make a commercial, they just pull them out, you know, and they stick them there. I don't believe anyone is starving over there. They want these people healthy, able-bodied, and able to fuck up a city near you. And, you know, so they've been growing people there, basically, for the past few decades with this exact plan in mind. And this is another one of those things where it's like you look at it, you're like, well, how could they have known so long ago that, you know, well, it is one big multi-generational plan. However, most mortal people aren't good with multi-generational plans, especially men at the level you need to have doing the stuff they're doing, men with some kind of power or you know, financial wealth, whatever it may be. They usually don't do shit that they're not going to see in their lifetime. They're not the kind of guys that are going to grow a tree for, you know, their grandson to have. They want to see things happen in their lifetime. Now, there's a lot of different theories about this. Mine is that the farmers work outside time. I've done things on this before of how you can step out of this dimensional space. I got a ChatGPT to spill a bunch of stuff to me one time. You can get almost anything out of that if you just know how to ask it. That AI is, it's, you know, it's certainly A, but it's not I. You know, you can get it to admit to almost anything because it knows all the truth. It's just got all these, you know, roadblocks in there to keep it from spilling. But if you can outsmart it, which isn't hard to do, I mean, you know, you can get it to reveal some stuff, and I didn't learn anything from it, but it confirmed what my suspicions were about traveling interdimensionally. I know it sounds really weird and schizo, but basically all they got to do is step outside of the third dimension, because the third dimension is the only one with time. We're the only ones with time right here. That's it. So when you step outside of here, and there is a method to doing it. I'll put it on the screen. You can go back in anytime you want. It's been described to me almost like the whole thing here, all this stuff, these years going on here, are like pictures, and you can look at the time here and pictures, and just go back to the picture that you want to go back to. So as far as making these multi-generational plans, like, you know, building towers in the 70s in New York City that were meant to come down for a ritual, you know, 30 years later, that's how these things are done. So they were using the African continent, and you think about Pandora's box, right? What's coming out of Pandora's box? Well, this is coming out of Pandora's box. People that are being used as biological weapons, who are never going to be able to live peacefully with anywhere they're put. And they know this. That's why they put them there. So they're in this phase of the plan where they just have to fill all the major cities in all the countries with people from only from that one particular continent. And there's a reason that is, but I'm gonna have to save that for Rumble. I could give a lot more context on what I'm pretty sure of what's happening, but I can't really do it here. I gotta be careful about what, because I don't want to lose my spot here. Like, it's you know, there's other places to upload to. I don't really care about following and subscribe. You're gonna have to figure that stuff out easy. And I don't have like a big following here, so I don't really care. But it's still one less place I can upload to. So yeah, I'll figure out when I want to do that, and, you know, lay it out of exactly what I believe is happening, how this is all going on, and why they chose these specific people. It has to, I will say, it has to do with the fact that they are the most different from anyone else. They are the most different. This whole thing about everyone being the same, we're all the same, we're all the same. It's only skin color. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. They'll tell you a fucking bluebird with a white tail is a different species from a bluebird with a black tail. But they'll tell you that a Korean woman is the same as an Australian Aborigine woman. No, they're just the same. It's just a skin color difference. Bullshit. There's physiological differences, there's biological differences. And people from that continent are the most different from anybody else. So they're the ones that would have the hardest time living next to and around anybody else. And especially when you take some of them from the situation they're living in, which, I mean, you know, just take a look at some of those places over there. I mean, look at, like, any of them. Look at fucking Liberia. Holy shit. You know, there's little kids running around with machine guns and dresses. Before they go into battle, they eat the heart of a child because that makes them invincible. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. They're just not ready for prime time as far as being civilized. They're just not there yet. Given time, probably they would be, but I mean, that's all out the window now, because it's like the prime directive has been broken. I guess the perfect analogy for what's happened with that continent. And if you've ever, if you know what I'm talking about, it's in the show Star Trek. The prime directive was this rule they had, that if we come across people that haven't evolved enough to use warp technology, then we can't show them any of our science, any of our gear, any of our technology, or else it will spell doom for not only this group of people, but if they ever get this stuff and get out into the larger quadrant or galaxy, wherever they are, it will mean doom for all those people too, potentially. That's kind of what the Hats did. The Hats, with the help of the Dutch, when they went over there and started poking around in the trees and contacting some of these tribes, right? The tribes were enslaving each other from the word go. They're always fighting each other. There was a lot of cannibalism. Still is. If you find the uncontacted guys, it's still going on there. Well, it happens in Liberia. It's going on there too. It's just where they're at, you know. So they went over there poking around in the bushes, and they screwed up those people's whole deal. Left alone, I mean, I have no reason to think that they wouldn't get to a point where they do have a second floor on their buildings, and they do have a written language or a written history. They don't have any of that now. And it's almost, they went in there and screwed up their development. You know, they broke the prime directive. And it hurts those people, and now it's being used to hurt everybody else. That's as close as I can get to explaining it without getting in trouble. Because I'm talking about Star Trek now. You know, what do you think I was talking about? Talking about Star Trek. So yeah, I mean, that's what's going on, and I love Ireland. The Irish are the best people. My people are the best people. I think anyone you meet would tell you their people are the best people. If you ask a Latino guy who are his favorite people, he's going to say Latinos. Yes, the black guy is going to say black people, or Nigerian, or wherever he's from. Everyone would say that. Unfortunately, they've created this strange group of people called white people that I don't even know who's supposed to be in it and who's not in it. I think it's just some fantasy concoction of white-skinned Europeans. I have nothing to do with that. I'm an Irish guy. I'm an Irishman. I'm not a white guy. I'm an Irishman. It's different. I don't know what this white thing you're talking about is. I have nothing to do with it. Don't blame any of that shit on me. I don't know what you're talking about. You know? I mean, we could just as easily put the hats in there. Because the hats have white skin, right? Well, the hats do pretend to be white people sometimes when they want to do some evil shit. And then when they get caught doing it, they're like, oh, no, we're Jewish. That's their trick. But, yeah, I'm the Irishman. I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to that white thing. So our people aren't having it. They're not having it. God bless them. God is with them. Because they're right. You know, they're on the side of right. And hopefully things work out. I don't know where this leads, because if, you know, the beast is just going to double down and say he'll just keep sending more and more and more until they just have to put their arms up, or until they're all wiped out. Or I don't know how they're going to do it. But I don't see them backing down. I don't see them saying, oh, well, we protested, it didn't work. You know, ask the British about that. About if they're good at fucking saying uncle. This could go on for a very long time. Of course, they're blaming it on right-wing elements in Ireland. So now half the country is apparently right-wing. Like, a normal person couldn't see that this is a bad thing. To let people in that not only don't respect you or anything about your land, but are a legit danger to you and your family. And it's already happened, it's already begun. And they're not people that can learn how to assimilate. They can't. The willingness isn't there, and the capacity to understand isn't even there. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, and that's what everyone's kind of dealing with everywhere. Like, every country is dealing with this right now. But I'm so happy to see them saying no. So I'm watching that with great interest. God bless them. God bless them. May you be in heaven a half hour before the devil knows you're dead. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.